Now we got it's TGI Now time. Back again in the K420 studio, freeing your mind.
One episode at a time.
Shit, we trying.
There you go. So you guys didn't make fun of me that time.
Yeah,
I appreciate
we held it in.
Yeah, you held it in. Yeah, didn't make fun of me.
We were prepared.
Well, here we are, our 100th episode.
Oh,
100,
yeah,
100,
100.
Right. And we got another guest in the house, bringing in guests left and right like we always do. A local celebrity, a local legend in Vero Beach, Zeke Motta.
All right.
Hey.
Good thing I didn't do.
Hey, we hit that one on accident before introducing someone.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in,
yeah.
man. We really appreciate it. We mention you every once in a while on the podcast. You know, Larndell, you guys have been friends for a while, and you know they would mention like Zeke, you know, played football and did these things in Vero, and you know, manifesting his reality.
We gonna
and
get him on.
I'm like, we got to get this guy on, man. I know your father, so it was good to get the chance to meet you today, and you know Eddie. So thanks for coming on. We want to just bring you on and have you come speak your truth.
Cool.
You know, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely on that journey,
Yeah.
seeking truth.
Seeking truth, exactly. Tell us a little bit about you and your journey up until this point.
Yeah, so I'm a Florida native. I mean, we moved here in '96, and I was 6 years old. So I pretty much say that I grew up in Vero, and yeah, I was blessed to be raised by a dad who really had a good understanding of exercise physiology and how to train. So I spent pretty much my early years focused on optimizing my performance, athletic performance.
Yeah.
And I think I was born to be a football player, man.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty much like one of the earlier pictures that I have is me laying with the NFL pigskin. So
Nice.
just
Yeah, you made your dream come true.
Manifested that dream.
Yeah.
I think it was probably like 8th grade. I was serious, like, okay, you know, I want to focus on getting the scholarship first,
Yeah.
and start there. But it was always a dream, you know, and I would think about it pretty regularly. It was in my mind, so I would always visualize like what it looked like
Yeah.
to make it there. And I loved hitting.
Bro, he was serious. He was
That was
serious.
Yeah,
That
I've
was
seen
what
him
called
play.
me.
I'm talking about
I
even
seen him
working
play
out.
in high school.
I'm talking about even working out, bro. I was scared to walk by his bench because he would be like, "Hey, you're working out with us today." I'd be like, "Bro," I'm like, "It's you." And then he'd have the biggest people, him, Stork, Trevante Bowles. I'm like, I don't know, bro. You're coming with us.
Yeah, we had some really good players. So
man,
I was
just like,
that was a blessing too, just to be growing up in this area where, you know, there's some
Competition.
serious competition, and so that really pushed us to be our best. And so we took our workouts very serious, and
it paid off.
yeah, and my dad, he tried to have, like, you know, set a balanced life for me. It wasn't just all football. So I played soccer. I ran track. I skated. I surfed.
Oh.
So in that regard, like, it was really a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. So those that don't know, in the listeners, Zeke played football for Vero Beach High School, and then you went on to Notre Dame, right? You got that scholarship. You manifested a scholarship.
Yeah.
Played at Notre Dame. What a great place
college
to play,
to
right?
fucking play. You know,
Right.
Notre Dame, please.
Right.
I mean, that's another dream right there.
Right.
Just to be able- even if you didn't go pro after,
Yeah.
I played and I got a scholarship to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
you know,
really.
fuck.
It was nuts, man. And before I knew about that power of manifestation, it was just like he said, all right, write down some goals, you know, and it was something like that. But then when I took my visit, it was just, it felt like fortuitous for me to end up there, you know. And we talked a little bit about like signs and stuff, and so I've always been kind of looking for the signs of, okay, like what feels like the right choice and stuff like that. And
That's awesome.
you know, it was beautiful to go there and see like the Golden Dome, and just in the fall where the leaves are changing. And they were playing Stanford, who was recruiting me as well.
Oh wow.
And so they ended up winning, and I was like, oh, that's a good sign.
Right? He's like, yeah, that's a good sign.
They beat Sanford. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's what a great opportunity. And then obviously you got drafted into the NFL, which was what round did you get drafted?
I got drafted in
Seventh
the
round.
7th round.
Seventh round. Wow.
round, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that my performance was stunted because I took a salt bath the night before my 40, and everybody was like throwing shade on my 40, and it was like I understand that,
Yeah.
but 40 didn't really equate to my speed, so like my real game speed.
Gotcha.
And it's the unfortunate truth, but it does show that you can prepare for a test and execute.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I took a salt bath thinking like, oh, I'm
This
gonna
is
be
gonna
nice and relaxed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, what
Nah.
an idiot.
Makes you too loose. Makes you way too loose.
That 2%.
So,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
But all my other numbers, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it was good enough to get me on a team.
Hell yeah.
And from there is when I started trying to earn the respects of the veterans and show that I belonged there.
Yeah.
And doing everything I could. And it was nice because it's like all geared to you.
Yeah.
You know, like they have hot, cold, sauna,
Everything.
you know,
Everything you could think of.
state-of-the-art equipment. You know, we walk in, you can get a smoothie, like,
Yeah. Anytime.
It was
it's
the
top
life.
notch, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
what
like in
happens.
pro football.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, so my
Yeah.
ego was definitely riding on a pretty high wave.
Right.
How old were you when
I was like 23.
Yeah, you're still young
baby,
though.
just
I
a
mean,
baby.
shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
I'm
Then
thinking
you're
like,
coming out of Notre Dame
Yeah.
too, so it's like fuck,
Right.
you know, start playing Vero Beach. So you already had that in your head. I mean, it's gotta fucking grow on you. You can't, no matter where you're at mentally, it's just still gonna get to you. Ego's still gonna grow, you know.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt. So I pretty much showed like that I belonged out there through practice squad, and you know, once they called my name, you know, and I was on special teams and stuff, and I showed that like, you know, I was up there with the best of them.
Yeah.
And so I became the third safety in rotation. And so I started getting a little bit of reps out on the field, like during the games. So got my feet wet a little bit. And then towards the end of the season, I actually was just, you know, running down on kickoff and got tied up and broke my right hand.
Oh, okay.
So this was like kind of the beginning of the end, really, because they started putting me on some Toradol, which is like pain blocking medicine,
Yeah.
and they wrapped it up. And then I played the following week against the Packers, and so I had like a little bit of stuff to block the pain. I think it was the following week.
Gotcha.
And it was like -2 degrees out on the field that day.
God.
Like, just what you would dial up for a game in Lambeau Field, right? And it was nuts, man. So we were freezing our ass off, and turns out the starting safety goes down with a concussion or something like that. And a little bit before that, I had ran down on kickoff and kind of got a little dazed, but I just was like, maybe it's just because
It's cold.
Fucking cold
of the
as shit,
cold,
right?
and but they had to help me up after
Yeah.
looking at the film afterwards.
Okay.
I got double teamed, and they pretty much just planted me right on my head.
Oof.
And then I get the call up, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And
Yeah.
so I remember I was definitely like, what? When they called the play and whatever, but I ended up having a decent game. You know, it wasn't my best game, but I definitely felt off.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of tough to, like, when my name was called, that I didn't get to put my best foot forward
Gotcha.
either.
Yeah.
So, but everything happens for a reason, man.
Yeah.
So, anyways, towards the end of the game, I kind of come up and hit a player, and my neck kind of goes stiff. And
Is this your second year?
this is the first year,
Okay.
man.
Oh,
This
wow.
is during the Packers game
Oh,
still.
okay.
Okay.
And so, like, my helmet came down and it kind of like busted open my head. And they were stitching me up on the side. I'm like, yeah, I'm a warrior. I'm tough.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
this is the shit.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is what the fucking Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, right?
Yeah. And so I'm like, yeah, man, because I mean, I was a tough guy. I was probably too tough, and so I kept playing. And that towards the end of the after the game, I couldn't really take my pads off. I had to have like help, and so the next day they took an X-ray and nothing showed up, and then I kind of got worked on by a chiropractor and trying to figure out how to like manage this pain. And then I was the starter for the next week against the Redskins. So
shit.
I'm like, we're home. I'm a starter. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, got to play through pain. That's what we learn.
Right.
And you trust that the trainers kind of like will steer you clear. But I played. I had some tackles. We won, but it was hurting, and I was like,
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Right,
you know, I remember asking if I could cut tackle, and so thank God I did, because who knows? After seeing what the MRI showed the following week, I went through a whole other week of practice, and then the following week, they were like, all right, we need to take an MRI, because I could barely turn my head. So, yeah, man, and they took an MRI, and it was like, okay, you have a C1 Jefferson fracture. You're lucky to be alive. We can do this surgery to try and see if we can preserve your career. And I was like, all right, you know. And thank God, man, the surgeon, he was like top notch in Atlanta there. And he did this surgery that was like one of a kind, really.
Really? Wow.
Because of the C1, the way that it is, it's like, you know, either you fuse it all, like, so that really limits your mobility, or he fused it to itself, so there's a plate in the front. That was the first surgery they did. It was just before Christmas.
Wow.
Miracle.
And it was, man. It was like there was definitely an angel watching over me. Or maybe I died and this is the alternate.
Hey, listen.
That's a good way to put it.
That as well, bro.
That's a good way to
Listen, we don't know.
Yeah, we all have those
know,
events in our lives, so you don't know.
It's the truth. You know, we can say it and joke and laugh around it, but you know,
it could have happened.
I mean, you know, he experienced something that could have caused death.
Yeah, I mean, like the doctor said, you could have been dead. And it's like, oh, well, maybe I did.
Maybe I did that.
And this is my alternate universe. This is my alternate reality. This is my other timeline. You know,
So,
I mean, that makes sense.
So what happened after that?
Yeah, this was the dark night of my life. I mean, we all have these points. And so I really had a couple of choices, or really two choices. You know, and I was kind of abusing the painkillers and feeling pretty down and, you know, in a shock. Like,
It was your first year playing pro football, of course.
So, but I tried to stay positive and be like, okay, maybe, you know, the surgery that they're doing, like, I'll still be able to play.
Yeah.
And so I went through that whole second year, like, rehabbing, and they did it, and ended up doing a second surgery, which you can actually see the scar on my neck for this one.
All right.
But, yeah, man, they did a second surgery, and I was feeling good, but, you know, I wasn't feeling great, and some other doctors weren't really willing to clear me to play, so, you know, that was the end of it, and I kind of had my demon days and was really trying to sort myself out, and I still struggle, like, you know, with depression and stuff like that, but now I kind of found a way to help manage that and focus on the positive things. So this was my transformation that needed to happen. Otherwise, I would be in a pretty dark, depressed place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I took it as a sign, like, hey, man, you know, you're here for a reason. You're alive. You know, just be grateful for that in itself. And so when you have these near-death experiences, man, it really does wake you up in a way that you start to appreciate things in a different way.
So your life today, right? Let's talk about that for a minute. Your life today, right? Right?
Yeah.
You're
are.
married, right?
Yeah. I mean, in our own sort of sense, we're getting married. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, but you've been with someone for a while. I mean,
we've been together
marriage
for
is just
5
a
years.
piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are together.
Yeah.
You know, so marriage is just a piece of paper.
Right.
So, So tell us about that.
Man, that was pretty life-changing too. Falling in love with a mermaid.
All right. So for those that don't know,
So I didn't want to say it. I was hoping he would.
She's a mermaid. She's a
Yeah.
She's a
I
real life
follow her.
mermaid.
I follow her. I follow them
Fell in
both
love
on
like
Instagram.
with a mermaid.
You guys are living your best. You're living your best life, man.
For real.
It's a fucking beautiful thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, she is a godsend, and we're trying to make each other better and find that balance. And she's a hard worker. She's a hustler, and she's got a good business, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You're co-creating.
Yeah.
Alternate reality. This is you need each other. We need each other to feed off of to keep us in that balanced center, like you said
Yeah.
before the podcast.
See, because you could have had another 5 years of pro football.
Absolutely.
And not lived your life today.
Exactly.
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 Yeah.
I think about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you would have missed out on that,
Who
being
knows
married
who I
to a
would be,
mermaid.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
So,
it's real.
like, my situation wasn't as bad as yours. I tore my quadricep tendon, right, in Israel. And I was in a job that I was making really good money, and I couldn't do that job anymore. So I felt like, what the fuck, Really, I felt like shit. I got depressed. I really get into myself. The medication helped, and I know what you mean. I try not to abuse it, but sometimes it is what it is. You want to just go to sleep. You just want to get through the day.
Right.
And, but I tell you, man, I'm living my best life today. So, and it took a bad situation for me to realize that, because playing pro football, what can be better than that for someone who's his whole life thought about playing football, But here you are, within the first year, the second year, you consider 2 years with the Falcons. After that, your career is over, but it's not.
Nope.
Because here you are telling your story.
Exactly.
Right? So your career is not over because your career is in your story, and your story continues. You're married to a mermaid. You're living your best life.
Yeah.
I mean, your vehicle outside is badass, bro.
Right.
I'm being 100, So all I'm saying is that, and everybody knows you in town. You live in a town where it's a great town. It's a one football town.
Right.
You guys used to eat free at fucking, remember, what was it?
Fat
Boys.
Fat Boys. You guys used to wear your jerseys because, my son used to go snack pack. He used to go and he used to get free, free food.
Yeah.
So, you guys were celebrities. Remember, when you guys played football, it was a big deal in this little town. So you grew up in your life has been really good when it came to football.
Yeah.
And now it turned out because you could look at it like, oh, shit. But your life is great. It turned out you
No doubt.
manifested your life, and this is what your life turned out.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. Like, I wouldn't be here without football, for sure.
Right.
But, yeah, man, I think that now, like, for managing the pain and stuff, my grandma turned me on to Qigong. And
nice.
this was where sort of like the beginning of that transformation for finding an alternative to the pain management began. And so, I was taking classes, studying online, and John actually taught me a lot. And he's pretty well known in this area, and he still has a class. And so Qigong was kind of like the doorway to all of this other breath work that exists. And
What is Qigong?
Qigong is breath work, energy work. Qi is like your life force,
Okay.
kind of like prana in the Hindu culture. So it's under the sort of alternative medicine, holistic ways of healing, and it lets you kind of create an opportunity to connect with nature and your spirit in a way that helps promote a more balanced, well lifestyle.
Badass.
That's right.
I told you you'd like it.
Rondell said that. When
Badass.
we talked about for the podcast, you were telling us
Yeah.
about your breathing work, and then Rondell's like, oh, Eddie's going to be
gonna
down
love
with
that
this.
shit.
Hell yeah.
Rondell called it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's cool.
But that's awesome because you see, it's national healing, and we can do it. You know, we have the ability to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we rely so much on medicines and all kinds of other things that within ourselves we have the healing.
100%.
I mean, we were born with an immune system that we could activate and fucking make it work 10 times more than what it's actually working because we control it.
Exactly.
You know, we don't think we do because we allow it, like we don't realize the power that we have. But, you know, so he's calling it Qigong. I'm calling it the power of the universe, the power that we have within us if we could just, you know, dig deeper. I dig that, bro. That's badass. I'm gonna look into that.
It's real, man, and
Well,
I think
I believe
that,
it.
you know, like when we're talking about how it's when you have these things that come up in your life that are like, oh fuck, you know, this or that or whatever, it creates this change. There's got to be a way to have that change happen before, you know, it goes to shit, right? So, like, I'm gonna share a book with you guys. I think you should really check it out. It's a great book. It's called The Immortality Key. It's written by this dude, Brian C. Murskew, I think. And it's really fascinating. He takes some serious research and goes deep in behind, like, the vaults of the Vatican and underneath in the library, and does this research about this sort of overarching theme of an mind-altering substance that creates this sort of die before you die in order to live.
DMT.
It sounds like DMT, yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost like DMT.
exactly. So in DMT or psilocybin or ibogaine or ayahuasca, you know, there's, you know, people have taken this as like a sacred ritual, and, you know, it was like a potion, right? And it's a very interesting book. Basically, that potion is like the body of Christ.
Wow.
Awesome.
Huh.
Because
That's
Or,
interesting.
you know, like the Eucharist or
Yes,
the
the
Holy
Christ
Grail.
the Holy
consciousness,
Eucharist,
yeah, the Holy
like
Eucharist,
like the blood of Christ.
Yeah.
The body of Christ.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're talking about in the Vatican, so like hidden knowledge? Is that what you were getting to? Or
Well, yeah, knowledge that's out there. I mean, he does all the studies, and it's very well documented.
Yeah.
Well, we know that the ancients, that back in the old Roman days, but even the days of Christ, they were tripping on mushrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were tripping on mushrooms, just living their life. It was like a normal thing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they would reach into their reality. They get more spiritual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Makes sense.
I mean, that's definitely been happening since the beginning of time. There's a reason
Yeah,
that
true story.
there's certain things that are put together, and wizards had to use those things in order to make it what it is. But, you know, they were like the catalyst for it all. You know, whether you were a sage or whatever, you know, there's multiple names for them. But basically, they were facilitators of this experience that would open your mind and keep your like a conscious awakening. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
see, but like what he's saying, and they're all natural, organic stuff that grows off the ground, something that does not have to be touched or taken to a lab. You could eat it right off the ground, like mushrooms.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
eat it right off the ground, and you're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not anything that's synthetic.
Yeah.
You know.
Makes
So
sense.
I mean, it's true. Like I was talking to some, you know, one time to a Native American guy, and he was telling me that, you know, back in the day, he was talking to his grandfather, you know, about weed.
Yeah.
And his grandfather was saying, "What do you think was in the peace pipe?"
Yeah, right.
No peace. There wasn't tobacco.
Yeah, right,
You know, it was good
Yeah,
peyote. You know.
he was fucking healing.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
using the herb to heal.
Yeah.
You know, so you know to help heal yourself. Speaking of healing, how is your health now today with your neck and everything?
You know, it takes a daily practice for sure. I find that the days that I do my practice and stay on a consistent routine, it feels better. But there's definitely good days and bad days.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to stay loose, and going in the water really helps me a lot.
Yeah. You said you did the deep diving, deep breathing too.
Right, yeah. So I'm a free dive instructor.
Free diving. That's it. Yeah.
And so that kind of goes along with the same lines with like breath work and breath control. The water aspect really allows you to attain a deeper sense of relaxation. because of its effects.
Wow.
So like when you go down, the mammalian dive reflex is what it's called. It's pretty cool. You know, you're tuning into this thing that unites you with other marine mammals, right? So like your heart slows down. You start to have this like blood shift where your body conserves energy, and it's very relaxing once you learn to understand what's happening, because it can be a little uncomfortable for somebody who's new, going upside down and equalizing. Like, these are the things that make it a little more difficult for people, but we still like to provide that experience in hopes of helping them continue on this journey where they're breathing mindfully and connecting with the nature and trying to live a more sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah, wow, that's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, my nephew, I told you, passed away, unfortunately, but he was a free diver.
That's right.
He,
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, that's how he passed. He was free diving in Gainesville, the caves of Gainesville.
Oh, man.
Doing some free diving out there, and he just, they didn't find him for a while. He came back, but he was doing it for a while.
Yeah.
It's not something he just started doing. So I guess the doctor said something about it's a poison that you swallow within yourself or something. You may
Your
know.
brain will release like nitrogen.
Yeah, something.
If you go to if it's something.
Well, yeah, there's definitely the possibility of getting bent if you go super deep. But when you're talking about diving in caves, you know, I'm sorry about that, man. That's
crazy.
tough.
Yeah. He's 22 years old. God bless him.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you
but-
go ahead.
No, just quick. So, what is there euphoria when you do that? Like a sense of a euphoria?
Yeah, there is. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, which we live in a society where you have these expectations that things are going to happen immediately. And I get that. But if you're willing to put in the time, I think that it definitely offers an opportunity for you to have an experience that puts you closer with your own spirit and God, or, you know, whatever. I think they're the same.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You
We're
know,
with you here.
I think that the power of the universe is inside all of us, whether you
Right.
call it God or not. You know,
we believe the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some
Yeah.
people call it. I think universe and God are the same.
yeah.
See, just people call him God. Some people call him universe. I choose to call him either.
Yeah.
He's God.
Right.
He's the universe. He's both.
Who's to say it's
You
a
know?
he either?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
Right,
it's-
exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, I didn't mean to give it a gender.
yeah, but we
you're
always-
right, because
No, I
the
know.
universe
Yeah.
doesn't have a gender.
but
No.
but
You
I
know.
was raised like that too. You
Oh
know,
yeah, we were raised with the Malibu Jesus.
Yeah.
Blue-eyed Jesus.
Kinda looks a little like
long
Zeke.
hair. Almost look a little like Zeke. Long hair, surfing,
Surfing.
Yeah.
But that's what
surfing.
but you're used to
Malibu
that.
Jesus.
that
But that's what
image.
you're used to.
That's programming.
Yeah.
You're given that image. That's what you're supposed to believe, that's what it is. But again, like Zeke said, it's inside all of us. Prime creator,
Exactly.
the universe, source energy, whatever you
We're all
want
in
to
a
call
sense
it.
God.
Yes. Yeah.
We're all in a sense God.
everybody has a true potential. You're born with a potential, and whether or not you're given the circumstances to achieve that true potential is kind of hard.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes good people, good family. It takes love. It takes
Love,
you know,
love is the
time.
key. Yeah, love
Yeah.
is a big one.
Well, love
Yeah.
is always big, man.
That's
Love
the one.
overrides fear.
That's
Love
gonna-
is what makes it.
That's what's
Yeah.
going to get us out of the
Love
mess
is what
that we're
heals
in.
us. It's funny, right? You could be in pain. You start thinking about something loving. Your pain goes away.
Yeah. True.
You know?
Very true. Yeah. Loves the I always say infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is
Absolutely.
an illusion. So it's infinite love is all
Yeah.
there is. That's the truth. That's the
100.
real
Like you
truth.
said something else about family. I'm big on that. I'm big on family. That's I think that family unity. When you find that, even like when you find that right partner, all that stuff is it's part of oneness. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome thing when you can have that filled.
Yeah.
When you have like every part of the puzzle is filled. You got little things that you need to still replace, but those are little things, because the major parts you can see the picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just little things that need to get covered up.
You're right.
But the picture's there. You see it.
It's there. You see it. You
Yeah.
visualize it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's fucking great. Looks like we want to do a break. We're at 29 minutes. I don't know if you want to do a break or keep going.
Well, we could do that this way. We could flip it into the other one.
You want to do that?
Yeah, that'll
okay.
work.
All right. Yeah, we'll take a little break. We're going to get some Caps
All
pizza.
right, we'll be right back. We're going to eat some of that Caps. Now,
Pizza.
where can they
nice.
get that Caps? Because we forgot to put them out there.
Yeah, no, we got they hooked us
Shout
up.
out to Caps.
John was super excited that you were
Yeah.
going to come.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Johnny.
awesome.
Johnny.
Johnny was excited that you were coming. John from Caps. So.
Yeah, so he's our
Yeah.
he's a
He's our
supporter.
sponsor.
He supports us the show, so
Thanks,
he gives us
John.
the food and you know we get it every Tuesday and
Caps
you can
Pizza.
get Caps Pizza.
Yeah, we got eggplant
Johnny.
pizza.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
all good shit.
Yep.
Eggplant.
And get them in
They
Rabbits.
forgot your meatballs, bro.
Yeah, they forgot the meatballs. It's
Yeah,
all
they
right.
forgot your
It's all right,
meatballs.
Johnny.
All right, no, he
I
hooked
ain't
us
eat
pull
them.
up
They
later.
forgot
He
them.
hooked us up with some other stuff, though. He took care of us.
You got the salad and some pizza there.
But reach
So,
Caps
all right, let's go do this, man. Go ahead.
772-770 Caps, knocking out pizza since 1987. Bing,
Ding, ding, ding. We'll be back.
1987.
Yeah.